All right, so we saw an early screening of Shazam. Let's see if it holds up to what all the critics have been saying about it. I actually didn't read anything about this film going into it. Had no idea what the critical reception was. I was just going by my own feelings when I stepped out of the theater. Sam, 3, 2, 1.
See it.
See it, 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 see it. Oh, see it, see it. Just the scores has been getting are 100% valid. This just may be one of the best comic book films I have ever seen. This is Avengers level good. So, Shazam. I'll just say the less you know about this movie going into it, the better off you're going to be. This is an early preview screening that we saw, so we're not going to spoil anything. I'll just say that if you thought Thor landing in Wakanda was cool, oh my God, I don't know if you've seen anything yet. If you thought that that was awesome, this film might have just trumped that. So, oh man, there's so much to talk about this film.
You're so excited.
Let's just talk about the things we can talk about, or we can talk about whatever we want, but we're going to be respectful because the film doesn't come out for, I think, like 2 weeks.
Zachary Levi said no spoilers.
Yeah, he said. He showed up to our screening. He actually came into our screening when it was over.
It was really cool.
Yeah, and he thanked the audience. It was pretty nice.
It was very nice.
All right, so let's just talk about the things that we liked that are evident from the trailers. So we know it's Billy Batson. He becomes a superhero by saying the name of Shazam. So he says Shazam, turns into the Zachary Levi superhero guy. He learns all of his powers. He's friends with, man, I wish I could remember the kid's name, but he's the kid from It, Me, Myself, and I. Teaches him how to like use his powers and whatnot. And it is a tremendously fun ride filled with a lot of heart and emotion that really solidifies the final act and where this film goes. Just 100% amplifies everything that it does. Mm-hmm. So I thought the performances were fantastic. Sam, what was some of the things that you liked about Shazam?
Man, it was hysterical. I mean, tear laughing funny. There was one scene that at the whole theater was cracking up laughing, and I'm sitting there laughing and crying because it was just so funny. And I don't think a movie's done that for me in a very long time, where I have laughed till I have literally cried. And this is one of those films where every turn is so funny, but it also has that heart about, the ultimate theme of the movie is family, and it makes you really feel for all of the kids in the movie and all of the representations of family. And you don't have to be blood related to be family, and it just made it so much more precious. Yeah. It was a really funny, deep, hilarious film. Like, it was just it's a one of a kind. It's a one of a kind.
I thought it was as funny as Deadpool with the epicness of Avengers.
See, I thought it was funnier than Deadpool. Totally
fair. I mean, there's a lot of people that actually don't think Deadpool's that funny. But if you're someone that thought Deadpool was funny, I thought this was actually probably funnier. Mm-hmm. And it's a family-friendly funny. I mean, it's essentially the superhero version of Big.
Right.
It's a kid who's like, when he's as Shazam, he tries to act more adult, but he doesn't really know how adults act. So he comes off being like really goofy. It's like when he goes to the convenience store, he's like, "Your finest beer, please." And Jake points him in the direction. He says, And then when he actually goes and buys the beer, they think they're being cool when they buy the beer. And the whole thing with the guys robbing the place is absolutely hysterical.
That's probably my favorite sequence, because that's when I laughed so hard that I was crying, is that sequence, because it was just so good.
He's like, "Oh, you have bullet immunity. You're bulletproof." And then the one guy's, the little kid from It's like, "Hang on. Let's see. Maybe the suit's bulletproof and you're not." And Shazam's like, "What?" And he looks at the robbers. "Shoot him in the face." It's so good.
It is really good.
And then when they're walking out, he drinks the beer, and they think like, "Oh yeah, beer. We're kids. We're cool. We're drinking beer." And then they spit it out. They're like, "Oh, that tastes like vomit," which is essentially like, beer's not a great tasting thing if you're super young. Like, that was totally, it was like, oh, people drink that, and then they smash cuts of them walking out, and they have like a bunch of like candy and stuff.
That's in the trailer. It was really heartfelt. I mean, Zachary Levi as an adult child was perfect.
Oh, yeah, spot on.
He was so good.
I thought the villain was also a lot of fun. I don't want to say too much about it because he wasn't really in the trailers. We just see Mark Strong in a couple shots in the trailers, or at least in the trailers that I've seen. Mm-hmm. But the things that inhabit him, that give him his power, I thought were visually awesome to look at. Mm-hmm. Really leaned into the strengths of the director, who comes from the horror side of things. He directed Annabelle and he did Lights Out. So
that makes sense.
He really lends his horror aesthetic to the actual villain of the film, and it looked tremendous. It was some really cool sequences come from the villain.
As much as we keep saying that it's a family-friendly film, those are pretty scary moments. Yeah. When the villain comes about with all of his villainy things, it's pretty intense.
One of my favorite scenes was the boardroom scene.
The boardroom scene was good.
And that's like when we get to like the full reveal, like how bad the bad guy actually is. And like when he was actually got his powers, I was like, I wasn't sure if they're going to go in the direction of where they went with it. But when they actually went where I wanted them to go, I was incredibly happy. Because as someone that likes things that are visually cool, it visually fed me when I saw that stuff. I wasn't disappointed at the end, because sometimes they have cool villains and you're like, oh, that'd be awesome if they did this, but then they don't do it and they keep like what could be a cool villain like in the back in the shadows, and they didn't do that with this guy.
I think that this villain could be one of the favorites. I mean, he's that good.
Visually, yes. He only has a handful of scenes. I don't know if I could call him like a favorite villain. He's not up there for me for like the Joker and Thanos. He has a couple of cool scenes. We understand his motivation, but where they went with him visually, they didn't skimp on the budget. They didn't try to hide things behind like shadows and whatnot. It's front and center. I thought it was really cool.
Way to like smash what I said. No, he's not. Okay.
No, that's fine. I mean, if you like him, you like him. He has good motivations. They set him up really well. I just think there's probably a good portion of time where they could have maybe used a bit more of him to maybe flesh him out a little bit more. But with what we got of him, I was really happy.
I was happy with everything. I think it was completely... It blew me away. Like, I knew it was going to be good. I was excited about it. The trailers were amazing. But, I mean, for me, this is the best DC movie I've ever seen. For sure. Hands down.
Yeah, it's
the best.
I need to marinate on it a little bit. But it's up there right now. The Dark Knight is my number one DC film. I think it's a lot of people's. Maybe Batman Begins, but Shazam's really going at my feelings about making Shazam being number one overall.
I think that what I like the best about Shazam is that it's a it's a hero movie, but it's also a very important movie because it has a lot of very important themes, and it was very enjoyable.
Yeah. I will say that the third act is probably one of the things that DC has had an issue with recently is their third act's kind of like divulging into just CGI chaos.
Yeah.
And yes, there is a bit of, I wouldn't say it's CGI chaos. There is a lot of CGI. It's just necessity based on where they went with like the villain and whatnot. But it's not like a mess of CGI. Whereas like with Wonder Woman, I've heard people complain that the final fight just turns into a CGI energy blast fest between Wonder Woman and the final villain. You know, Aquaman just becomes a CGI, just two armies like colliding with one another. And that Shazam avoids all that. Its heart of the final battle plays within all the themes that build up throughout the course of the whole film. Mm-hmm. And the third act's probably the best third act that DC's had in their films, probably since The Dark Knight.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is going to give Endgame a run for its money.
As far as much as people like it, maybe. I mean, this final act, the final third, was, again, just Avengers Infinity War type of, like, jaw-dropping sort of moments that happen. Yeah. While keeping you laughing.
Maybe I need to, like, separate those two because, I mean, we know that Endgame's going to be great.
Yeah.
And I really hope it is.
Endgame's 3 hours long. We're talking about a sub 2-hour film here.
3 hours long.
Yeah.
I do love the movies, but that's a long time. Especially if we're going to go see a double feature where we see it Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah. But anyways, anything you didn't like about Shazam?
No, not really.
I say the only thing maybe could have used a little bit more fleshing out with the villain, but even then, the villain is visually awesome. Super cool to look at. I was I'm not familiar with the Shazam comic books, so going into it, like all these things that happened just blew me away. I was completely shocked.
Yeah, I think the audience, there was a lot of Shazam fans because every time these twists and turns happened and we got a new reveal, like they went crazy.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, borderline, almost perfect film. I didn't think it was too funny. I didn't think it wasn't.
I mean, I would have to say with the humor, I mean,
It was natural.
lot of yeah, it was very natural. A lot of movies who have been trying to like put comedy into their film, it just isn't working and it isn't hitting. But with this movie, as of how funny it is, it hit it every time.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny like continuously.
Yeah. Okay. That's it for me.
That's it for me.
All right. This just might go down as being the best comic book film of the year. Cannot recommend this enough. See this opening weekend. Do not spoil yourself on Shazam. Go in completely cold. Stop watching TV spots, trailers. If you're excited for this film, just go into it as 100% as cold as you can, because there are surprises galore and it is fantastic. Be in the theater with an audience when this stuff goes down, because it is great. So that's it for me.
That's it for me.
Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to keep up and see more. Not sure what's next.
Dumbo. Dumbo's next weekend.
Oh, is it really? Mm-hmm. Oh, Dumbo next weekend. Hellboy maybe weekend after that.
Hellboy, oh yeah.
And I will 100% be seeing Shazam again.
Oh, I want to see it in Prime.
Can't wait for this film to actually hit its regular run so we can go see it again.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time, guys.